Hello and welcome to Wrath of the Gods. This is the first part of the 5th episode, which I've split into 2 episodes for a number of reasons. And as you can see, these are the battle lines as they were. Last turn, the New Roman Empire launched an attack in the north, what I didn't think they would do because technically they are outgunned, but due to a combination of bad management of fighters and self-destructing tanks, the battle lines now look like this. They've forced us out of the forward operating base and have pushed us back. However, we're not taking this lightly, and so this turn we are going to push hard in the south and in the north. And this here is just a quick schematic of what we're hoping to achieve in this turn. As you can see, we're pushing through there, and then hopefully we can push the lines back, capture the forward operating base and the Aesea's front base. Of course, this is being very optimistic, and we're starting off with a naval invasion. I launched, these are Gladius, and in the background that's Longsword. These are the medium tanks they've launched from their landing craft. You can do this from cruisers. They each have 2 landing craft, and each landing craft can support a medium tank. So I've launched 2 medium tanks, and this comes out of my points for the turn as well, so it's not like I'm getting an unfair advantage because I can put more tanks down than I should be able to. And this is the push for Aesea's front. A couple of weird things happened at this base, and I've decided that I don't like this base anymore. The first one being there's a gun that glitched out here. It's firing now, and we've hit it, it's exploding, that's all good. It's actually destroyed here. Well, if it's not destroyed here, the next shot that goes in absolutely destroys it. Whenever you're ready, oh, there we go, see, it's gone. But for some reason it kept on doing the firing animation and sound, and the bullets were continuously hitting the floor. I don't understand why that was. And so, yeah, that was a bit weird to begin with. And we cleared this side of the base. We're sweeping around the other side, and you see that little black spot on the side up there? Yeah, that's a 40mm anti-aircraft emplacement. And I thought, there are any anti-aircraft emplacements, it's not going to be any trouble. So I just drive past, and I hope to turn myself around and get some decent shots on them, and everything will be fine. But I noticed the other tank has fallen behind, so I kind of tag switch over to it just to make sure that everything's going well. You can see here, and it's going for a little swim, so I'm trying to correct it. When the 40mm emplacement opens up and absolutely rips the front KLM-2I into shreds, just destroys it, I go into full panic mode here. I have no idea how this tank is going to survive if it's got that much. I put the brakes on to try and turn quicker, and then the brakes won't switch off. Brakes won't switch off. Turn, no! However, upon closer inspection, well, you know what? No, I'll leave that for later. You can see me switching something back over there. That's because my tanks are shooting at the radar station, and radar stations can be captured, and I didn't really want to destroy it if I could capture it. Thought this base was a guaranteed win with what I had. Well, send in the Air Force, I guess. If your tanks can't do it, then your planes probably can. And so, from last turn, after the New Roman Empire attacked the fleet, we only have 3 of these left. However, we did manage to shoot down 3 more Achilles, so we're technically doing well off these fighters. They've got a grand total of, I think, 6 kills between them now. 6 or 7 kills between them. And so I was fairly confident going into this. Pilots are very experienced, they should be fine. Flying over to the base. Yeah. Again, I do not like this base for a number of reasons. First, the glitchy pew-pew. And secondly, I was just making sure that the guard menu's up here, because otherwise I might be giving my planes an unfair advantage if that gun can't shoot to its full potential. And we're going in here. I've got Wing Commander on, so they're flying together as a little formation. My 3 remaining carrier fighters. Well, they're good. They are good fighters. Don't get me wrong, but they're not designed. They're fighters. They're not supposed to ground strafe. In fact, I think me and the new Roman Empire, we had an agreement on it, but one of his fighters was strafing last turn. One of my tanks got taken out by aircraft fire, so I'm going to do 1 strafing attack with my fighters, and then we'll call it even. And we're coming in hot, very, very hot. We're coming in fast, and the computer just cannot be dealing with this. It's only a small little HP Pavilion laptop, and it's not exactly, spec'd out for gaming as such, and so a high intensity game like this, especially with all the debris around, makes the game quite fritzy at best. And so we're flying over the base, and you can see occasionally it'll keep pausing, and I was thinking, so we've got 3 fighters against 1 emplacement. This should be an absolute cakewalk. Should be no problem here. First 2 fighters get ready to break the attack, and immediately the first one is absolutely decimated, blown out the sky. Just, the fireworks. Oh gosh, it's horrendous. The second plane immediately stops engaging and tries to extend full throttle out of there as quickly as possible, but that flat gun is not giving him any room to breathe, and it just whips right back around and starts chucking more and more 40mm fire out at him. This gun is lethal. The only thing that really makes it, is the only thing that makes it lethal is the amount of fire it can put up. But the fact that we're within such short range of it gives it the opportunity to absolutely decimate our fighters. So now we've lost 2 fighters and 2 tanks to this turret, and I've decided I'm going to do manual strafe for this, because otherwise we're just going to rinse all the units, and it's not going to be fair at all. This gun is ridiculous, and the reason I say it's not fair is I'll go through it with you in a minute once I've done the strafing attack. Because after I popped this turret, as it were, I've discovered something incredibly interesting. And so, coming in low, trying to keep below the little ledge that enables the gun to fire. Some long range shots going in, just hoping for the best really. Wasn't expecting to hit anything, but surprise, surprise, kill it. And I am happy about this. And the reason why that gun was so effective is because it's actually 2. Basically, the way they've been designed is so that if you put mirror mode on in the spaceplane hangar, you can build so that you have you can build so you put exactly in the center. What had happened was he put mirror mode on and then dragged the turret into the center just to make sure it all lined up, and he'd forgotten to remove mirror mode, so it was actually 2 turrets inside the one, meaning it had double the rate of fire and double the amount of ammunition it should have done. And so I've had a discussion with a new Roman Empire about this, and the fact that they are clearly using hacks IRL, and that we are frowning upon this, and they've permitted us to use their factories to produce 1 of our fighters and 1 of our tanks and station them at this base, because it wasn't, let's be fair, it was an effective anti-aircraft gun. I was going to take some damage, but I just wasn't expected to be that much. So after a dispute, we've settled on 1 of each instead of the full compensation, and we're just putting everything on guard mode and make sure, there we go, there's our relaunch, got a KLM 2i and another Spud there, just making sure everything's okay, next to the Hermes, which is of course supplying the radar for our fighters. A second push is a forward operating base, and I actually have more tanks for this forward operating base than for the other one, because this one has 2 more daunting items. It's got some Ajax based tanks. these tanks are ridiculously good. You'll see later on the amount of damage it takes before they're killed. They seem to have just no end of armor. Even the light tank, which is the one taking fire there and exploding, that's just the armor coming off. That tank is still perfectly fine internally. And it's ridiculous. The amount of bullets you have to put into one of them to count it as dead is just... And so we've come up to this ridge, still putting fire in, although now they're just kind of shooting the floor. Good job, my tankers, I guess. And so pushing up to this ridge, and when I can't see it, and I'm sure it hasn't got shots on us, I just want to put the brakes on. I'm going to try and slow these guys to a stop and kind of figure out my bearings, see where the stuff is, and then we'll split the tanks up into individual groups and we'll try and tackle targets individually. Now, in tank battles, I am not allowed to direct the gun unless the opponent is clearly immobilized or, useless, and the only reason we're trying to get rid of it is just so we can, remove it from the map. Here we have I'm just turning the burn together off so that I can drive this tank independently, and for some reason the wheels like to switch around when using burn together, so I have to switch all the stuff over before I can drive around. I'm not allowed to I'm not allowed to aim, but I can drive. And so I decided that we are going for a walk with this tank. And where are we going for a walk to? Well, like I said, there's the Ajax light tank over there, light anti-aircraft, the Ajax LAA. That is scary, because that 20mm gun is good. It's already damaged some of my tanks, as you can see. This one's going apart. Yeah, again, that's another hit on it, and it's just not dying. It's just not. And so more and more shots going in, more and more explosions. It's still fine, and it's still returning fire. I have spotted a turret on the right, though, and my tank is not switching to engage it. So Kerner turns his tank towards it and full throttle goes straight for the ram, but the ammunition is hit seconds before he touches the turret, and he just blows up, and he doesn't actually damage the turret at all. He's just completely annihilated by the turret. And look at all the fire going in, just really making sure that my tank is dead. There it is. Look, see, this is how many hits it's taken. All of its armor has been stripped off, but it's just so tough. So tough. They're so hard to kill. They scare me. My tanks are not bad tanks, and in testing they've been put through a lot, but there's a ridiculous amount of these Ajax. They terrify me. And so we're not going anywhere near that light tank. I was assuming that he'd put the heavy tank kind of around the other side of the space, so I was kind of mentally preparing myself for the massive slaughter coming around this corner. And so I've got my lead tank here with Adster in it, pushing up towards the corner of this, so he can take point and destroy anything around the corner. My other tank is following with burn together. You see that little upturn thing there? That's a supply vehicle. That's an enemy supply vehicle. They're called RCXDs, and they're literally just batteries and a probe core strapped to girders and some wheels slapped on. They'll drive forever, but they're not worth anything. They're just what's used as a resupply stuff. And I can see there over the edge a turret. That's a 20mm turret. I slam the brakes on as quickly as possible and just make sure that I have plenty of time to calibrate. Oh no, my other tank. That's the that's the Ajax Heavy. Right now I'm just panicking. I'm trying to disable the turret and the Ajax Heavy at the same time. I'm hoping my other tank will deal with the Ajax. That was an explosion. Okay, but he hasn't dropped off, so I assume it's just armor damage. Absolutely destroy that, and we turn around just to see our other KLM-2I take a massive 88mm hit in the side, and something goes boom. the tank starts reversing and just, I assume that it's fatal damage and that nothing can be done to save this tank. And so I put full acceleration onto Adster and just drive him around as quickly as possible, hoping to take advantage of the Ajax's distraction of the other tank, and that was a big hit. The turret stops moving towards me. So I zoom in to see, and we have killed the pilot. The tank is fine, but the pilot is absolutely dead. So it's to stop our tank shooting at a corpse. We team switch him over. And this is the damaged tank, and he looks absolutely wrecked, but it's all just armor damage. He looks absolutely devastated, but it's just armor. It is completely superficial, and I was so surprised that this thing had survived. So we're using him to push round because I don't fancy his chances of survival, honestly, and I'm just trying to get to a point. You can see, oh, the audio cut there for a second for some reason. I don't know. But there's a turret right there, and he's not engaging it, and I am panicking, thinking, oh my goodness, this turret's going to rip us apart. We're going to have no chance. It's out of ammo. I didn't realise this until afterwards, and I was having a look around, but those turrets are now out of ammo. They fired it all into that tank, and they've destroyed him, but they've got no more ammo left at all. So now that's basically, the tank's out of ammo as well. That enemy tank is out of ammo. He's got no weapons, no functioning weapons, and basically his armor is useless. And also, instead of slaughtering this brave light tank pilot who's done well to not run away, what I'm going to do is I check in just to see if he's still alive. He's still there, but he's got no ammo left, so I quickly switch him over to my team so we don't have to waste another precious Kerbal's life, because they're all very, very special Kerbals. None of them is for single sacrifice. You know, you have to look after your Kerbals because they operate your machinery, and if you don't look after them, your machinery is going to go wrong, your pilots are going to not want to fly, there'll be accidents. You just take care of your Kerbals. And so that was a humanitarian act, saving an enemy soldier, just extending a nice hand out. Seeing as the last turn, a couple of our tanks had all their ammo destroyed, and as a nice little humanitarian wave to us, you know, it's nice to see a little bit of, you know, friendship in the time of war. There was the New Roman Empire have repatriated our tank drivers to us, and here is the battle lines as they stand now. Happy birthday, Taran, and I really hope you enjoy your birthday video. Second part coming out on the 28th. See you next time.